Hey, Seahawks fans! There's a lot going on with this team right now, and you can just feel things starting to heat up. We're finally getting real movement again, guys are back around the building, and it's one of those moments where, big decisions are coming real soon. The front office is clearly setting something up, and if you're paying attention, there are already some pretty strong hints about where this is all heading. But first, be sure to click the like button. And if you're a true Hawks fan, write in the comments, "Go Seahawks." The Seattle Seahawks have officially kicked off a crucial phase of their offseason. And what's happening behind the scenes right now could define the direction of this franchise heading into the 2026 NFL Draft and beyond. The return to the building for voluntary workouts isn't just symbolic. It's revealing, it's strategic, and it's already giving us clear signals about what John Schneider and Mike Macdonald are planning next. One of the biggest takeaways comes straight from Schneider himself, and he didn't try to hide it. The Seahawks are entering the draft with only 4 picks, and instead of dancing around the topic, he made it crystal clear. The team is actively looking to trade back. This isn't speculation anymore. It's the front office openly admitting their approach. When a general manager says, "It's no secret to us, we'll be looking to move back," that tells you everything about how Seattle views its current draft capital. And when you really think about it, this strategy makes complete sense. 4 picks simply aren't enough to address the depth and flexibility this roster still needs. The Seahawks are in a position where accumulating more selections could be far more valuable than staying put and taking a single prospect. Whether it's the first round, second round, or even later picks, every option appears to be on the table. Seattle isn't locked into one path. They're preparing to be aggressive, adaptable, and opportunistic. What makes this even more interesting is the willingness to trade within the division. That's not something teams typically rush into, but Schneider has shown he's open to it. Suddenly, scenarios involving rivals like the Arizona Cardinals become more realistic. That alone adds another layer of intrigue because it suggests Seattle is confident enough in its evaluation process that it's not afraid of who it might be helping in the process. Now, let's talk about a move that already reshaped their draft situation: the trade for Rashid Shaheed. This wasn't a random decision or a panic move, it was calculated. The Seahawks gave up their 4th and 5th round picks, reducing their total draft capital from 6 to 4. But they did it with a clear purpose. Schneider confirmed that the nature of this draft class influenced that decision. Shaheed brings immediate value, not just as a wide receiver, but as a dynamic return specialist. And when you factor in the injury to Torrey Horton, his importance becomes even more obvious. This is a player who can impact games in multiple ways, and while no single player guarantees championships, there are moments in a season where a playmaker like Shaheed can be the difference between winning and losing. Seattle recognized that and acted accordingly. But if there's one storyline that might end up being even bigger than the draft itself, it's Devin Witherspoon. While Jaxon Smith-Njigba has already secured his extension, all eyes are now on Witherspoon, and the signs are pointing strongly toward a deal getting done sooner rather than later. Here's why this matters. Witherspoon showed up for voluntary workouts. That might sound small on the surface, but in today's NFL, it speaks volumes. Around the league, players seeking new contracts often skip these sessions as leverage. We've seen examples, players like Devin Akane or Jacoby Brissett, choosing not to attend. But Witherspoon being present tells a different story. It suggests confidence. It suggests alignment with the organization. And most importantly, it suggests that both sides already understand where this is heading. The expectation is that Seattle will lock him in long-term, and based on his impact, it's easy to see why. Witherspoon isn't just another cornerback. He's a complete defensive weapon. His stat line doesn't always fit the traditional mold, because he contributes in ways most corners simply don't. Tackles for loss, sacks, disruptive plays all over the field. He's the kind of player who doesn't just cover receivers, he changes how offenses operate. Replacing that kind of versatility isn't realistic, and the Seahawks know it. The belief is that this extension gets done before training camp, and if that happens, it solidifies one of the most important pieces of Seattle's defensive identity moving forward. This isn't just about keeping a good player, it's about securing a cornerstone. And while most of the focus is on internal moves, there are external developments that still impact Seattle's path. The San Francisco 49ers, for example, just secured Trent Williams on a 2-year, $50 million extension, keeping him in place through 2027. That matters because of what he means to their offense, especially for Christian McCaffrey. When Williams is on the field, the production shifts dramatically. His presence elevates everything around him, particularly in the run game. So, yes, this move strengthens a division rival. But inside Seattle, there's a very different mindset. The belief within the organization is clear. They're building a team capable of beating San Francisco, not reacting to them. Even with moves like this, there's confidence that the Seahawks are positioning themselves as the top team not just in the NFC West, but potentially the entire conference. So when you take a step back and look at everything happening, the draft strategy, the Shaheed trade, the Witherspoon situation, and even the ripple effects from rivals, you start to see a bigger picture forming. This isn't a team standing still. This is a team making calculated decisions with a clear vision of where they want to go. The question now is how it all comes together. Will the Seahawks successfully trade back and rebuild their draft capital? Will the Witherspoon extension get finalized before camp? And how much impact will these decisions have when the season actually begins? What do you think about this aggressive draft strategy and the signs pointing to a Devin Witherspoon extension? Are the Seahawks making the right moves at the right time? And when you connect all these dots, what the Seahawks are doing right now starts to feel very intentional, not reactive. The reduced number of draft picks isn't a weakness. It's a trigger for a different kind of strategy. Seattle is positioning itself to control the board rather than just participate in it. If they successfully move back, stack additional picks, and still land key contributors, this entire approach could end up looking like one of the smartest moves of the offseason. At the same time, the Shaheed trade continues to stand out as a signal of urgency. This isn't a front office waiting around for development years down the line. They're targeting players who can contribute immediately. Shaheed's versatility as both a receiver and returner adds a layer of explosiveness that this team can lean on right away. And when you consider how close certain games can be in the NFL, having a player who can flip field position or break a big play at any moment becomes incredibly valuable. Now, pair that with the expected extension for Devin Witherspoon, and you start to see the identity of this team taking shape. This is a Seahawks roster that wants to be fast, aggressive, and disruptive. Witherspoon embodies that mentality. He's not just covering receivers, he's attacking plays, creating chaos, and forcing offenses to adjust. Locking him in long-term isn't just a contract decision, it's a statement about the kind of defense Seattle wants to build moving forward. And there's another layer here that can't be ignored: culture. The fact that Witherspoon showed up for voluntary workouts while other players around the league are holding out speaks volumes. It shows buy-in. It shows belief in what Mike Macdonald and John Schneider are building. Those are the kinds of details that don't show up on stat sheets, but often separate good teams from great ones. Meanwhile, even with moves happening around the league like Trent Williams staying in San Francisco or Dexter Lawrence heading to Cincinnati, the Seahawks don't appear shaken. If anything, those moves are being acknowledged, but not feared. There's a quiet confidence building in Seattle, A sense that this team doesn't need to chase what others are doing because they trust their own blueprint. And that brings us back to the draft, because everything is about to come into focus. The decisions made there will either validate this entire approach or raise new questions. Trading back sounds great in theory, but execution is everything. Finding the right partners, making the right selections, and maximizing value at every step, that's where this front office will truly be tested. If they pull it off, though, you could be looking at a roster that not only has more depth, but also more flexibility for the future. And in a division that continues to evolve, that flexibility might be the biggest advantage of all. So now it comes down to this moment. The plan is out in the open. The intentions are clear. The key players are buying in. All that's left is to see how it unfolds when the pressure is on and the clock is ticking. If you've made it this far, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any breaking Seahawks news as we head through the draft and into the season. And right now, on your screen, there's another video you need to check out to stay fully updated on everything happening with the Seahawks. Click it, because the latest updates and analysis you'll only find right here.